customer experience practice. It's inherently about identifying cross-functional misalignment and getting people on the same page, because often you've probably heard ship your org is a common phrase that we hear, right? You don't want to ship your org. And customer experience is one of the methods and the practices that help people not to do that when it comes to how you want to build good customer experiences. And often what my team does is we're bringing in voice of the customer data, customer feedback. We're helping people co-create with us in the design process. So their fingerprints are on it. They get to tell us all about their lived experience of being a sales rep or a marketer or a customer success person, and we can incorporate that into the design. Because at the end of the day, a good service needs to work for the employees as well as for the customers. And so it's really important to have that co-creation step in there. It doesn't always work. You're always going to get that spectrum of folks, the laggards, the early adopters. We get some super enthusiastic participants. But I think designing in a really inclusive way with our employees in mind helps us make a big difference when it comes to getting buy-in early on.
In addition to having an org structure and really focusing on early buy-in, do you find that having shared KPIs or shared goals across teams is helpful in this process?
Yes, 1,000%. I see this go wrong all the time. I'm sure you probably experienced this too, right? You'll dig a couple layers in. Oh, because their goals are totally different. One thing my team spends a lot of time on is trying to ask people like, hey, what are your goals for the year? How did you come up with your goals? Hey, here's an area where we could have a shared goal, or even talking to the sales team and the CS team, what shared goals do you all want to have together? And the other thing I find is often when people are setting KPIs, they don't always think through what implication that's going to have on the customer experience. For example, I did some ride-alongs with our CS team in Barcelona, and they were showing me how they do account planning, how they're tracking customer engagement. One of the guys was saying, hey, my KPI is on doing a certain number of quality conversations a quarter across my portfolio. He had about 40 accounts. And so that meant he was making trade-offs between having a second conversation with a customer who really wanted to meet with him versus having a conversation with a different customer because he's not KPI'd on, he doesn't get credit for talking to the same customer twice in a quarter. If you were to step back and say, what would you normally do in a situation where you're trying to create value for a customer, that shouldn't be a choice point that you're making.